Hi everyone, and welcome back to another My Anime 3 video. So today we're going to take a look at, again, a Human IK animation tip. And this is apparently what we already know from other demonstrations, the Human IK dummy fight animation. But as you can see here, there's something different going on there, isn't it? So basically there has been some modification here and there as opposed to the default one. So that's what we're going to take a look at in this video. And it's gonna be fun. And it's something that is related to specific human IK limitations, because what we have seen last time working well for the standard skeleton rig, where we went here and added animation layers. This doesn't always work well, unfortunately. And so the Human IK rig, it's kind of buggy. So yeah, let me show you what we're going to aim to reproduce. That's the file. I'm not gonna save that. And here is where the modification took place on the actual Human IK rig. All right, so the modifications you see are actually on the Human IK rig. However, we need a specific special editor. So under Windows, Animation Editor, we go here and we have a time editor, which is showing, okay, so if we click on this layers icon, it will also extend and show more layers. Okay, so basically here I have added for each layer that I might have renamed as well. We can also rename it. I added layers that included some parts of the body, and I also have animated their weight. Basically, it's exactly the same thing here that we did here with the animation layers on the standard skeleton rig, but this is a different approach. So I'm gonna restart everything all over. All right, so we can see how this thing can be made work for us. So I will just start from scratch. All right, so here we are. We have the default character there, the default avatar. The animation has been transferred. And so now with my animate, select the character controller down there, and then now we bake to the Human IK rig. So animation length, there we go. All right, now so the animation is on the character controllers on the Human IK rig, no longer on the skeleton. And with this setup, we can now work on modifying this animation. And what we need to do is to go to the Windows menu, Animation Editor. This time, it's the Time Editor. This editor is a special type because it works in clips. It basically moves the animation from the character and puts that into a sort of box, which is a clip. Then the clip can get its own layers. So let's move this out of the way. Okay. And it's pretty easy, so we make sure to select everything by clicking here on the empty space in the Human IK UI until everything gets highlighted. And then we go to this button here, create clip from selection, that can also be found under File, add animation from scene selection. You see that the icon is the same. So I'm going to use this. If that doesn't work, all right. If it doesn't work by selecting the actual controllers from the Human IK, selecting the main controller there should do it. And just to make sure, let's extend that by clicking on this little triangle, extend to everything that's underneath. Chest end effector, just origin effector, head effector. Looks like it's the correct selection. To make extra sure, you should see all of these controllers when you select them without animation, but the animation is actually there. Okay, so the timeline will no longer show any of your keyframes because they will be transferred within this kind of box. Cool. So how can we modify this? That's pretty easy actually. We just need to make our own selection for whatever you want to modify. And we're going to create a new layer. So let's grab this arm. Let's make a modification on this arm. Make sure to select all you want to select, all you want to modify, so that you get that, like this whole arm selection. And we can either click on this button, create additive layer, create override layer, depending on what you want to do. I'm gonna put a additive layer, or you could right click on the animation clip you have here, and you can do a create additive or create override. Okay, so with this one selected, oopsies. Oh yeah, let's move it to 1. With that one selected, let's add, let's add a new layer. You can read here its name. You won't see it, but there is a new icon here. That's a layer type of icon. If you click it, it's going to expand whatever the layer content attached to an animation clip you have there. All right, and also this one can be extended to see what has been added. As you can see here, we have the whole arm. Now imagine that you want to, we made a mistake and we also want the chest there and this other one. So you can add it to your selection by holding control, and it adds more stuff, right? And so once you have that stuff selected, you can right click, add selection, or if you had selected too many things, you can select what you want to remove, remove selection. I'm gonna add to my list here. Okay, now at this point, we want to make the modification. Okay, so we want to have the arm to extend more and to rotate the hand correctly. Probably we need to have the arm not completely extended like it was before. Select everything. All that is included in your layer, right? And simply Shift E and Shift W. Now, no keyable attributes found. Fine. It's complaining. Select whatever you want to keyframe, in this case the rotations, and then key selected. Now the keys are appearing over here. Okay, so if I move the line, you can see them better. These are keyframes. Okay, so this is affecting 100% all the time right now, which isn't what we want, right? We wanted it to be up to here and then go gradually back to whatever we had before. So let's set this to the layer weight to 0 so that we can see how it was originally. And yeah, keyframe here at 0. At this point, we want a little bit before of the pose that we have made, we want it 100%. And keyframe, let it get to the pose that we had created. Set another keyframe at 1. And then move some frames forward. Set it back to 0. And keyframe. All right. Okay, so I see that the wait is going to is going it's active at 1 for a little bit too long. I would like to modify that, but it's not listed here. So to modify the wait, we have to go to the graph editor, which of course opened on the other monitor. Okay, here it is. Cool. And if we select the layer itself, not the individual objects that we have animated, but the layer, you will see that the layer also contains all of the objects, but it has a layer weight entry that's separated from everything else. So I select all of the keyframes and hit F to make it easier to display. All right, and the maximum extension of the arm should happen here. So I grab this keyframe and I move it. So from there on, it should start releasing the influence. So let's grab this too. Let's make it start releasing its influence a little bit earlier. All right. And it goes back to whatever it was. Cool. So you can basically uh, see the keyframes here on the box, on the layer kind of box, right? You can mute the layer to completely, so to see the original, or anyway the results of your edits without without this specific layer included in the overall edits. And you could even solo the track. So you can have as many layers as you want for as many parts and combination of parts as you wish. Just remember that anything that you add on top, if it's influencing the same body parts, is any modification you do on top of something is relying on the previous layers as a base. So just be mindful in that regard. Okay, so we have made our first modification. Cool. At this point, once once we are happy with this, the only thing that we can do is to bake this animation back to either the rig or the skeleton. Okay, so you can do the bake to a new clip, and delete. You can bake it to the scene. You can bake to scene and delete, or you can flatten the layers, which means all the layers plus the base animation just merge all together. Now, in this case, I would say I'm done with the modifications. I can just bake to scene and delete, which means it will bake whatever the animation is. It's going to put it on the character there and will delete all the work here. Bake, you can bake to new clip. So the result of this series of modification with the layers and stuff could be baked into a new clip, leaving the original clip with the layers intact, and a new clip with no layers with the results of all of the modifications aside, just next to it. This is going to do the same thing, but it's going to to delete the original clip that we have here with all the layers. And yeah, in this case, I want to just bake to scene and delete. Cool. So now, as you can see, the animation is back onto the human HIK rig. Right? And what we can do at the end of all of this is to commit and bake to skeleton. All right. Remember that the skeleton is a separate entity from the rig. So if you're happy with this and you want to commit to this animation, you bake to skeleton. Then if you want to keep working, you can bake to human HIK rig. that will attach this new animation that attached to the skeleton also to the rig, which you can now keep modifying. And if you change your mind, delete the clip. Oh, let's do that actually. So I create that. The animation is now has now moved onto the clip, and you see something went wrong, right? So what it means here is that if I now do a bake to scene and delete, and the rig is broken completely, let's go to human IK. If I go back to stance, no, to none, sorry, the animation from before is still there. Okay, that animation did not get deleted. It's still there. And it's still there for you to do another bake to human IK rig. And something's wrong there with human IK. Something's definitely wrong. So this could be a bug with human IK, and fear not, your animation is not lost. You just go here and do a nice none. Cool. Human IK just bugged out, which means that we can just delete this character. The animation's still there. The character is gone. It's fine, because we can characterize it again. Cool. And we can bake to human IK rig. And this time, things work. So you can keep working on more and more iteration in your modifications. Remember, at some point when you're happy, move the animation back to the skeleton by bake to skeleton, save your file. That's where you're committing to some modifications that you like and that needs to be a pinpoint in your workflow where you may want to go back to at some point if you're changing your mind. And then you can keep moving the animation to the human IK rig. If it doesn't work because it's broken somehow, just nuke it, remove the character and create a new one. As you have seen, this works nicely. It's a pretty complicated technology. Sometimes it bugs out. It's something to be expected after bake back and forth. So no fear, because nothing's actually lost, as long as you commit at some point and bake to skeleton. But that's gonna do for today, and I hope you enjoyed these new quick tips on how to use Human IK for your animation workflow and to modify the mock-up animations using Human IK rig in a more modern way. That's quite non-destructive. That's kind of nice. I like it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And until next video, have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.